Back in November of 2021, I posted a video showing a West Virginia Circuit Court judge basically flipping out at a traffic stop. This was in Moorfield, West Virginia.
What's the problem?
How you doing, sir? The reason I'm stopping you...
Judge Williams.
Judge.
And I don't... Why did you stop me?
You had your cell phone in your hand. Okay, why are you screaming at me? You have your license registration?
I'm not going to give you my license registration. I drive by a lot of times and y'all are on yours. You're never on yours, right?
Okay, I don't understand why you're yelling at me.
You're never on yours.
Why are you yelling at me?
But when he's about to get a minor ticket for a cell phone infraction, all hell breaks loose.
Why are you so uptight? Huh?
I hear your cases every day in court.
Okay, what's that mean?
Give me a ticket. Give me a ticket.
There were charges, there was a trial, and now a West Virginia Supreme Court decision came out yesterday deciding the fate of the judge. On July 11th, 2021, Judge Carter Williams visited an ice cream shop with his family, and then he left the shop alone in his own vehicle. While driving home, he heard something drop, and assuming it to be the missing cell phone, picked it up. Officer Devonta Johnson observed the judge with his phone in his hand on the steering wheel and initiated a traffic stop close to 7:30 p.m. Officer Johnson greeted the judge, "How you doing, sir? The reason I'm stopping you is," but was interrupted when the judge said, "I'm Judge Williams, and I don't..." "Why are you stopping me?"
What's the problem?
How you doing, sir? The reason I'm stopping you...
Judge Williams.
Judge.
And I don't... Why did you stop me?
You had your cell phone in your hand.
The judge was visibly agitated and attempted to explain to Officer Johnson that he had just picked up the phone from between the door and the seat and was only holding it, not using it.
I had my phone like this.
Yeah.
I just lost it. I was just looking for it, pulled it up like this, was not on it.
The judge became more agitated as the conversation continued, and Officer Johnson asked the judge why he was screaming at him.
I just looked in the car. Go up and look.
Okay, why are you screaming at me?
Sir, I
you have your
wasn't
license,
doing
registration, proof of
anything.
insurance?
So those facts are undisputed, and I got those almost verbatim from the court's opinion, which I'll post at the blog and link in the description. The situation escalated when the judge insisted that he had done nothing wrong and initially refused to provide his license and registration.
You have your license, registration, proof of insurance?
I wasn't doing anything wrong.
You have your license, registration,
I'm
proof
not
of
going to
insurance?
give you my license and registration.
You were doing something wrong. You cannot have a handheld...
I had my phone just like this. I was not on my phone.
In what state of West Virginia you cannot have a handheld cell phone?
The judge then stated several times that the police are often on their cell phones and not on official business, asking Officer Johnson, "You're never on yours?" in an angry tone.
And you all aren't ever on yours, right? You're never on yours. I drive by a lot of times and y'all are on yours. You're never on yours, right?
Okay, I don't understand why you're yelling at me.
You're never on yours.
Why are you yelling at me, sir?
I said you're never on yours.
Why are you yelling at me?
I'm not yelling at you.
Yes, you have been. I've never raised my voice at you.
Let me tell you something. You all are on yours. I was not talking on mine.
If you read the code says that if we're conducting official business, you can be on it.
Officer Johnson again asked why the judge was yelling. The judge then provided his license and registration. His hands and body noticeably were shaking.
I just don't know why you're yelling at me.
No, not on official business.
Okay.
Here.
Thank you, sir. Why are you so uptight? Huh?
The judge then motioned for Officer Johnson to go back to his vehicle and said, "Go ahead and give me a ticket. Give me a ticket."
Go and give me a ticket.
What's going on?
Give me a ticket.
The judge appeared to be shaking. When Officer Johnson asked why he was shaking, the judge answered, "I'm irritated because you pulled me over for no reason." The judge again attempted to explain that he only had his phone in his hand and likened it to holding a cup.
Why are you so shaky? What's going on?
I'm irritated because you pulled me over for no reason.
You had your cell phone in your hand.
I picked up my cell phone because I had it lost.
Okay.
I pulled it up here and I had my hand on it here.
Okay.
To put it in here.
You know the law,
you saw.
You know the law.
So what? What if I have a cup in my hand?
You can't have a cell phone in the state of West Virginia in your hand.
The judge then told Officer Johnson, "Give me a ticket. Go ahead." The judge stated that he would take the ticket up to the town office and take it to trial, then said, "It's ridiculous what you're doing."
Give me a ticket.
I don't.
Write me a ticket.
I just don't understand why you're...
Go give me a ticket. Write me a ticket. And I'll take it up to the town office and I'll go to trial. Give me a ticket. Go ahead.
He repeated that officers are on their phones and do not get pulled over, then stated, "And don't tell me it's on official business. I hear your cases every day in court. Go give me a ticket, give me a ticket. I'm really irritated about this whole ... Go ahead, give me a ticket.
It's ridiculous what you're doing.
How is it ridiculous?
It's ridiculous.
That you had your cell phone in your hand.
You all have yours. I've seen it many times. Y'all have yours, and you don't get pulled over. And don't tell me it's unofficial business. I hear your cases every day in court.
Okay, what's that mean?
Give me a ticket. Give me a ticket. Give me a ticket. I'm really irritated about this whole... Go ahead and give me a ticket.
But why are you being like this to me? I've never done nothing to you in my whole life.
You just pulled me over for no reason.
Because you had your cell phone in your hand.
Pulled me over for no reason.
You had your cell phone. Okay.
Officer Johnson then returned to his vehicle. There he confirmed that the judge's license had expired a few months earlier.
Charles Williams of Moorfield expires 4 of 21 on an expired Class E 0.2975 is clear good.
While in the vehicle, Officer Johnson received a call from his supervisor, Lieutenant Melody Burrows, whom the judge had called once Officer Johnson returned to his vehicle. Lieutenant Burrows, in later testimony and sworn statements, elucidated that on the call the judge told her that her, quote, boy had pulled him over, calling Officer Johnson, quote, your boy, several times. Officer Johnson is African American.
Lieutenant Mel.
Who, what does that come back to?
Hold on. Hello? Yes. No, I haven't even wrote it yet. I'm probably not going to write it. Oh my God. Okay, well he's literally just screaming at me and everything else. For no reason. Okay. I've tried. He's just screaming at me. And then he said that he reviews or looks at our cases every day and we do wrong, blah 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 blah. So, all right. Okay, bye.
When Officer Johnson returned to the judge's vehicle, the judge was on the phone with Lieutenant Burrows, who had apparently called the judge back to let him know that Officer Johnson would not be issuing a ticket.
Hello? Yeah.
The judge stated to Officer Johnson, you can write me a ticket or not, I don't care. I'll take it up to town and we'll go to trial, buddy. That's fine with me. And I'll tell you what, the next time I see any of you on your phone, I'm stopping right there and I'm calling the state police. Any of you.
You can write me a ticket or not, I don't care. I'll take it up to town. We'll go to a trial, buddy. That's fine with me. And I tell you what, the next time I see any of you on the phone, I'm stopping right there and call the state police. Any of you.
Okay.
When Officer Johnson asked, why are you being like this, in response to the judge's increasingly agitated state, the judge answered, because I've seen this crap enough and I'm tired of it, grabbing his registration out of Officer Johnson's hand, saying, give it to me, let me have my license now.
This is how I had my phone. I reached down and got it under my seat. I pulled it up here and I was driving like this. I was not talking on it. You can look. You can look when you pulled me over. See whether I was on my phone.
Why are you being like this?
I'm being it because I've seen this crap enough. And I'm tired of it.
Here you go. Here's your license, registration, proof of insurance.
Give it to me. Let me have my license now.
Officer Johnson then informed him that his license was expired and needed to be renewed. The judge did not answer but grabbed the license, put his car in gear, and said, next time I see you, as he drove off.
Also, you need to go get your license up to date because they're expired, okay?
Next time I see you.
As the West Virginia Supreme Court discussed in the opinion that was just released, it wasn't the frustration the judge expressed at the traffic stop that was the big problem here, but rather what the judge did afterwards. In response to a mere traffic stop where he wasn't even cited, Judge Williams went on a campaign to retaliate against this officer. He threatened to sic the state police on the Moorfield officer if he observed him driving with a cell phone. He criticized the officer to his supervisor and others. He called the department sketchy and referred to its officers as boys. He called them piss poor and sloppy. He called them a bunch of thugs, harassing innocent, hardworking people. He accused the officer of possible drug use and referenced a prior unrelated administrative suspension that the officer received, stating that he shouldn't have been reinstated. The judge later called the prosecuting attorney and said that the officer should not be on the police force. According to the findings in the record, The judge discussed the possibility of reinstating unrelated criminal charges against the officer. So let me point this out. If the judge had knowledge that a local police officer was a bad guy who was endangering the public and endangering the Constitution, why did he not do something about it before this interaction? If there's a bad cop endangering the peasants, the high and mighty judge doesn't care because it doesn't concern him. But when he's about to get a minor ticket for a cell phone infraction, all hell breaks loose. Again, I first exclusively obtained the body cam footage via a FOIA request from that police department. YouTube delivered judgment in the court of public opinion, and now the rest is history. The Supreme Court, as of yesterday, finalized the whole thing by issuing a published opinion, which you can read. I'll link in the description. The big takeaway from me was that the judge raised a First Amendment defense, that even though he was a judge, that he has a constitutional First Amendment right to criticize law enforcement, just like the rest of us. In response to that, the court noted this: of course, we're not a police state. One is permitted to question why he's being pulled over and to contest a ticket if he believes he's done nothing wrong. Judges do not lose all First Amendment protections when taking the road. There are significant limitations to that free speech that come with being a member of the judiciary, because a judge's speech may impugn the credibility, impartiality, and integrity of the judiciary. Judges, like anyone else, have a right to be obnoxious in their public expression. They may continue to offend so long as they refrain from violating specific provisions of the Code of Judicial Conduct or some other law. And for that reason, protected speech not addressed by the Code of Judicial Conduct, no matter how obnoxious or offensive, is addressed through the ballot box, not disciplinary proceedings. Had the judge's conduct been limited to loudly contesting whether Officer Johnson read the cell phone statute correctly, we might agree with his position consistent with that prior case and would defer to the voters in his district to judge his conduct. But the facts of this case invite a starkly different analysis, because the actions of the judge cannot be understood to be only in his capacity as an accused. He stepped out of the shoes of an accused, contesting a stop, and into the shoes of a judge upon identifying himself as Judge Williams and repeatedly invoking his office on the evening of July 11th. Calling Officer Johnson's supervisor during the stop can only reasonably be interpreted as coercive, and the calls made thereafter were a blatant invocation of his office. In short, the judge's conduct was not an invocation of his rights as an accused to challenge a ticket he thought he didn't deserve, but rather an invocation of an abuse of the prestige of his office. The judge improperly invoked his office, employed coercive tactics in contacting various public officials that evening, and suggesting that he might change his rulings in cases in retaliation for the traffic stop. Further, his comments could be interpreted as an attempt to have Officer Johnson fired in retaliation for the stop. Multiple rules of the Code of Judicial Conduct were violated. The Judicial Hearing Board previously recommended a suspension of 1 year, with 3 months of that suspension to be served without pay and the remaining 9 months to be stayed so long as the judge complied with an agreement. The Supreme Court here yesterday instead opted for what they called a more harsh sanction, which was for the judge to be suspended for 6 months without pay, compliance with a monitoring agreement for a period of 2 years, a formal censure, a fine of $5,000, as well as to pay the costs of the proceedings against him. One thing you have to keep in mind is that the voters in West Virginia elect judges that they want to elect. The Supreme Court does not get to remove those elected judges. They can only suspend them, which happened here. But as we saw with the family court judge that I'm suing, we also elect our state legislature, and they do have the power to remove bad judges through impeachment. Is that something that could happen here? If not, I wonder if the voters in that district will reelect the judge. Do the voters ever have any idea what they're doing when they vote in judicial elections anyways? Perhaps they need to start paying attention, and videos like these can help make that happen. So please do your part and share. Also subscribe both here and at the blog at thecivilrightslawyer.com. Also, thanks to the Ronsford Skate Shop for this sweet shirt. Remember, freedom is scary. Deal with it. And I'll see you next time.